Hello, I am Arknights Scholar, and this is Arknights TLDR Episode 1. Today's topic, Chapter 0 and 1, Evil Time, as well as anime episodes 1 through 3 of Prelude to Dawn, which adapts them. A group called Rhodes Island, led by a girl named Amiya, retrieves the body of someone known as the Doctor from something called the sarcophagus. As they escape, they encounter a group called Reunion, who seems to be attacking the city of Chernobog, where they are currently at. To make matters worse, it seems the doctor they retrieved has amnesia. This forces Amiya to be unable to transfer the leadership role to the doctor as originally intended. Along the way, we get some world building on topics from Reunion. Think Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. Technically understandable, but they are still likely killing innocent people as well as culprits, so we should probably stop them. Chernobog. Chernobyl. Ursus. Russia. Rhodes Island. Noah's Ark fused with Doctors Without Borders. The Infected. AIDS, but you get heightened abilities and will eventually fully petrify and explode. Arts. It's magic. Originium. The world's main source of energy, but it gives you the exploding AIDS disease. Catastrophes. End of days style super disasters that can take many forms. They also slowly meet up with friends on the way out. Doberman, Ace, and Neural, as well as high ranking members of the Reunion movement. Crownslayer, Mephisto, Faust, W, and even the leader herself, Tallulah. Luckily, the Doctor seems to have kept his tactical abilities and strategic mind, which helps them get through most of the obstacles with minimal casualties. They managed to escape, but it cost them the lives of elite operators Ace and Scout of Rhodes Island, which is a heavy blow. Alright, I might have condensed that too much, so let's roll it back a bit, expand the play by play, and offer bonus information on characters, events, and things. But before that, I first have to talk about foreshadowing. One thing about this game that is very clear from the start is the amount of foreshadowing and hints and clues scattered ahead of time. The writers love to drip out pieces of information or truths long before they will ever be fully utilized and bear fruit, as I'm sure there's still some clues or hints from early game content that still haven't been revealed yet. If I have learned anything playing over the years, it's that it's best to let Hypergriff, the company behind Arknights, cook. Nothing is insignificant, and everything could be a clue, minus the occasional red herring. I would like to honor the heavy foreshadowing the writers use by pointing out moments of note with minimal spoilers if possible. So if I say any questions that have a clear answer, it is not because I forgot some major plot points, but because the reader or viewer is not supposed to know it yet. On that note, let's open with the very first scene in both game and anime, the Doctor's Awakening, and the cryptic voice, show versus game. Straight from the beginning, something weird happens while Amiya, Medic, and Guard are waking the Doctor from inside the sarcophagus, the device holding the Doctor in stasis. In both the anime and game, there is a voice besides Amiya's and Medic's talking to us, with the game version being significantly longer. Who or what this voice is has yet to be revealed. In the game, this scene is accompanied by a giant dragon-like eye watching us, but emitted from the anime. The biggest clues, we aren't their guest yet, and December 23rd, could be important due to the latter being Amiya's birthday, as well as the day the Doctor woke up in Chernobog, the city this event takes place in. It could be an entirely third reason too, but that remains to be seen. Speaking of the Doctor, they are the player's character self-insert. The gender of this character is mostly ambiguous. Even the voice actor for the Doctor has a long history of voicing males and females. The anime is the only time we even get to see the Doctor has white hair and silver eyes. On the way out of the sarcophagus, the group gets discovered by an armed group called Reunion that's attacking the city, which is where Doberman shows up to the rescue. Doberman is, well, a Doberman, a Perro or dog race, who was a former military instructor from Bolivar. After doing a double defection of both the Coalition Government Army faction and the true Bolivarian Army faction due to not agreeing with either side, she is now a drill instructor for most of Rhodes Island's trainees and entry-level operators. As they continue their escape, it is revealed that the Doctor has amnesia, preventing Amiya from transferring leadership to the Doctor as well as shaking the team's confidence in the operation. After narrowly avoiding an ambush the Doctor spotted out, they are saved by one of their comrades, Ace. Ace is a Phydia, or snake race, elite operator who protects his team at all costs with his large shield and hammer. He knew the Doctor in the past and is confident in the Doctor's abilities even with the amnesia. There's a nice mid-episode card that is the same for episodes 1 through 3, giving some extra detail about Chernobog. The card reads, Chernobog was once an old nomadic city. However, according to research promoted by the mayor Count Boris, the city was able to secure abundant energy which rapidly developed Chernobog, emerging as an industrial city. Its high productivity made it one of the most important cities in the Ursus Empire. This is a really good mix of details that are plot adjacent, shown much earlier than when we normally get them in-game. Chernobog is obviously parallel to Chernobyl on Earth. You can even see a nice shot of a dome that looks a lot like the Chernobyl new safe confinement in the background. But don't worry, I am sure this world's version will fare much better. As they rest and plan their next move, they get a report from Scout that there are reunion uprisings all over the city, and Amiya fills the Doctor in about reunion. Scout is a Sarkaz, or demonic type race, who is gifted in sharpshooting, stealth, and recon. While not actually seen in this exact moment, in both the game and the anime, he is a notable elite operator of Rhodes Island, like Ace. Reunion is a terrorist organization made up of people with originium infection that protest the terrible treatment towards such infected. In the game, it is stated that this event in Chernobog is the first time Reunion has ever escalated past protesting into large-scale acts of violence, like rioting, looting, arson, and outright murder. A squad of about 20 Reunion members starts heading towards the group, so they flee. Amiya notices a mother and child unknowingly running towards the Reunion group. After a disagreement about if they can risk a confrontation to save them, the Doctor says he has a plan. We get to see the Doctor's tactical skills firsthand here. He's able to save the child and her mom without them being harmed, doesn't alert anyone of their existence, and pretty much ends the fight before the enemies can land a single hit. As good as this victory was, unfortunately, the rescued mother reacts poorly after noticing Amiya is infected. Admittedly, she was nicer in the anime than in the game, where she's pretty much hysterical and doesn't view them any differently from the ones that tried to kill them. This triggers a conversation about Oripathy, the infected, and Rhodes Island as they prepare to cut through a park and meet up with other Rhodes Island members. Oripathy is an infectious fatal disease with no known cure. Although the disease can be treated, at best it slows down the process but still decreases one's lifespan. The disease slowly crystallizes the person's body, and when that recipient dies, they fully crystallize and explode, spreading originium dust into the air, which can then cause new cases of oripathy. Those with oripathy are known as the infected. Being an infected comes with a heavy social stigma. People tend to fear they could be easily infected through contact with an infected, but in truth, it can only be transmitted between living people through blood-to-blood contact, not unlike AIDS. While discrimination of an infected varies per country or area, all involve becoming a second-class citizen at best, and at worst, the infected are sent to a prison camp, hard labor, or even sentenced to death. Rhodes Island, our main faction, is a pharmaceutical company whose main mission is to treat all things related to oripathy. Many operators of Rhodes Island are infected. While they work to find a cure for the disease, they also help all problems that stem out of originium. While they are focused on oripathy and originium first, their ideals expand to save as many lives as possible. They casually drop more info about the Doctor. Before the memory loss, the Doctor was a neurologist and leading expert on oripathy. They were also gifted at psychology and was a master tactician due to reading people so well. We see this a few times in episode 1 and many times in other stories in the game where the Doctor is so good at reading people it borders on psychic prediction. As they start moving, they comment that there is only about 3 hours left until the catastrophe will strike. Unknown to them, the group are currently being watched by one of Reunion's high-ranking members. The story continues as our group cuts through the park, while a shot of an Ursus news report plays, claiming everything is fine. Some quick info about the country of Ursus. As I said before, it is a parallel to real-life Russia. Ursus is a major power player on Terra, and known for being one of the cruelest countries to the infected. If you're found to be infected in Ursus, you would be sent to work in the mines, or outright executed. This includes any non-infected found harboring or helping them. Doberman and Ace briefly talk about the odd parts of this attack in the anime. In the game, These doubts are spread out amongst both chapters and are nothing more than possible theories by characters as they observe the devastation around them. Such theories like how Reunion shouldn't be strong enough to take down the entire city on their own, especially if Ursus sent any form of backup. Yet nobody has seen anyone but the local Chernobog police. Were they really just caught that off guard? While crossing the park, they get attacked by Crown Slayer, and she abducts the doctor. Crown Slayer is a Reproba, or hyena race, infected, from Ursus, and a high-ranking Reunion member. With her arts of creating and manipulating smoke and fog, she is very skilled at infiltration and assassination. She is also on the hunt for someone specific and seems to think the doctor may know about them. As Crownslayer threatens the doctor, Mephisto arrives and tells her to leave as this is his area and proceeds to release the doctor back to Amiya. Mephisto is a Liberi, or bird race, infected from Ursus, another high-ranking Reunion member. He's got a twisted streak who seems to care little for the lives of both his allies and enemies. Mephisto is curious about the doctor after seeing him come out of the sarcophagus and ask for a trade. Hand him the doctor, and he lets the rest of the group leave alive. A fight then ensues, where Mephisto commands his squad by shouting chess moves. As things look bleak, an operator by the name of Nerl arrives for the rescue. Nerl is a Karanta, or horse race, from Kazmaraz. With her warhammer doubling as her casting staff, she is known to radiate light when she uses her arts. Her light can heal as well as inspire her allies to keep fighting, living up to the title of the Radiant Knight. Nerl then taunts Mephisto, which makes Mephisto reveal his trump card, a sniper named Faust. Faust is a Phydia infected from Ursus and another high-ranking member of Reunion. He's a top-class sniper with heavy destructive capabilities, capable of staggering Nerl with a single crossbow shot. He also seems capable of shooting from multiple directions almost simultaneously. After barely withstanding the powerful sniper, Rhodes Island gets away and regroups at the destroyed clinic named Azazel. They heal up, and we get a chance to talk about arts and Originium. Azazel was an underground clinic for the infected. Further facts are not mentioned in the anime, such as Operator Helliger was the acting manager who inherited it from a deceased friend. There's a lot of untapped Helliger and Azazel lore, so I'll save it for another time, or if it ever becomes relevant again. Originium is a crystal used as an energy form in most modern-day applications on Terra. From basic household appliances to complex engines, Originium is found everywhere. Arts can come in many types, and usually a person's arts abilities vary per person, but you can also learn specific arts through intense study and skill. Some can heal, some can manipulate elements like fire or ice. The vast spectrum of arts is so large, it's easier to compare it to the mutant gene in X-Men and Marvel than to just list all the different types. Originium is needed to perform arts, but it is also the source of oropathy. If one is infected, the ability to use arts dramatically increases. However, using arts via infection and without an arts unit that uses Originium will worsen one's condition, using their very life force as energy. The group continues on towards the meetup point, when suddenly a torrent of flames appears attacking them from the rear. The one behind this, Tallulah. Tallulah is a Draco, or dragon race, who is the leader of Reunion. Her powers over fire are insane. We see in the anime she can melt buildings and use her flames as a shield. In the game, we see the intense heat around her slowly melt the metal around the town square and burn up arrows and other projectiles long before they reach her. To make matters worse, the catastrophe strikes as they are fighting. Alluded to ominously before, catastrophes are giant-sized superstorms. The one hitting Chernobog is a meteor shower, but other catastrophes can take the forms of blizzards, sandstorms, earthquakes, wildfires, floods, and even volcanic eruptions. The one thing they all have in common is their crazy destructive power and that they leave behind massive chunks of Originium. During the fight, we see more hints about Amiya, like how her rings seem to stabilize her powers or keep them in check, and how she's able to create a shield to defend her allies from both Tallulah's fire and the meteors. Meanwhile, Tallulah just protects herself and lets the minion next to her die. This forces Rhodes Island to fight on two fronts, resulting in Ace volunteering to hold the line while the rest of them escape. As they are forced to leave Ace behind, they make their way to the edge of the city to the extraction point, where they encounter W. W is a Sarkaz, bomb-obsessed mercenary aligned with Reunion. She seems to know the doctor specifically, and after some cryptic taunting, she leaves. We also get a quick scene showcasing Ace having brought an injured guard somewhere and telling him they are the last survivors of those who stood behind. While Guard curses his own weakness, Ace tells him to survive as he is going to continue to distract the enemy so the evacuation can succeed. Amiya's group are finally able to board their aircraft at the evacuation point and head back to Rhodes Island. While they travel, Amiya also senses something in her heart. In the game, she calls it a feeling of intense grief. Others on the plane react harshly to this because most of them know Amiya is an empath, and most likely sensing the moment of Ace's death. Doberman also explains to the doctor during the ride a bit more about catastrophes and mobile cities as they look at Chernobog from afar. Most cities on Terra are mobile cities, also known as nomadic cities. This means entire cities are on top of a large mobile platform powered by Originium and can move to avoid catastrophes. Catastrophes can be predicted, not unlike how we detect major weather events in our world. In the game, we get some lore on a load screen telling us it takes about 2 to 8 weeks to fully evacuate a mobile city out of a catastrophe area, so accurate predicting is key. The doctor then questions if catastrophes can be predicted, why didn't Chernobog escape in advance? The group finally arrives on the Rhodes Island landship, bringing the escape from Chernobog arc to a close. When they arrive, we see some playable operator characters making cameos. Jessica, Meteorite, and Frostleaf get cameos before their actual debut in Chapter 4. The Doctor then gets a tour of the place, and we get a bunch more cameos of operators on the ship, including Castle 3, Earth Spirit, Cora, Lancet 2, Yato, Noir Korn, Durin, Rangers, Firewatch, Myrrh, Feeder, Estelle, Perfumer, and Cicero, as well as reserve op teams A1, A4, and A6. I have to say, the episodes 1 through 3 were pretty much a one-to-one adaptation of the game chapters. Shockingly, episode 1 only covered stages 0-0 and 0-1. The only real changes that I haven't mentioned is that Ace appeared earlier in the anime, while in the game, he joins us a bit after Crownslayer first starts chasing them. But this change gave us more time to spend with him, which is good. I'm glad the scene with Mephisto versus Neural was kept pretty much intact. The sudden shift in personality and tone with Mephisto calling on Faust saying he wanted Neural shot through the mouth was so impactful in the game when I first read it. It's also interesting to note the extreme personality shift with Mephisto whenever he talks to Faust. Another change was Tallulah showing up right before the catastrophe. In the game, she waited to see if they survived the catastrophe before engaging. As for the NPCs, we have Guard and Medic, the two initially with Amiya when waking up the Doctor. I'm glad they got a bit more action and screen time, even if it was minor and at the cost of Medic ending up becoming a temporary chew toy for one of Crownslayer's hounds. But at least we know Medic returned home, unlike Guard, whose status is left unknown. I can't talk about NPCs without mentioning the surprise character that got a lot of buzz when the episodes first aired. The appearance of the blonde dog boy Medic in episode 2. A new and decently unique and yet simple design made him a nice surprise to players who were in fear of a sea of faceless identical background characters. Even I was briefly confused and thought the operator who turned into the human pincushion during the ambush was Guard, but nope, it was some other poor NPC from Doberman's backup squad. The biggest change we got was probably the scene with W. In the anime, her scene is fast and cryptic, which showcases her personality well enough, but in the game, the encounter is decently longer. Yes, she's still mocking cryptically and implies she knows the Doctor, but she is also way more antagonistic. She really showcases the reason we never met up with Scout's team, outright telling Amiya she will never see them again and asks the question, what makes people willing to lay down their lives for her? In the game, this actually triggers a fight between us, and she is actually the boss fight for the end of the chapter. In the end, it's pretty clear she's toying with us, as eventually she just stops, saying she got what she came for and we can leave now, just like she did in the anime. This is the only change I really regret in the adaptation. By removing the meat of this scene, we don't get good confirmation on Scout's team, who was name dropped a couple of times. It doesn't explain why we lost contact with them while we rested at the clinic, and how we didn't meet them at the town square before encountering Tallulah. The scene really drove home how dangerous and unstable W seems to be. Instead, this is left for us to learn during the remainder of Season 1. Personally, I think knowing this earlier adds more tension to her future appearances. Let's close this video out with the final scene of Episode 3, which dips into the first scene of Chapter 2, and ends with a debriefing of our next destination, Lungmen. To be continued next time in Arknights TLDR Episode 2, which will cover Arknights Prelude to Dawn Episodes 4 and 5, and Chapter 2, Separated Hearts.